Welcome into another edition of In the Bonus. My name is Jorie Mickens, and I watched a game between the Cleveland Cavaliers and the Brooklyn Nets. And I'm sure a lot of you probably watched this game as well, as it was the first game in which we, as NBA fans, got to see the three-headed monster that is James Harden, Kevin Durant, and Kyrie Irving taking the floor together. And man, what a game it was. The Cleveland Cavaliers escaped with a 147-135 victory in double overtime. A lot to get into in this game, but man, oh man, this was a performance for the ages from Collin Sexton of the Cleveland Cavaliers. He finished the game with a career-high 42 points, and he absolutely took over during the two overtimes, not only the double overtime, but both overtimes. He totaled 20 of his 42 points in those two overtime periods alone. And he just, enough cannot be said about how phenomenal he was offensively for the Cavaliers. And throughout most of the game, it actually wasn't even him making much of an impact. I believe this was his first game back from injury. So similar to Kyrie Irving, we all know he was out because of personal reasons and things like that. That's why he was away from the team. I believe Collin Sexton was coming off an injury, and this was his first game back. And what a game to be thrown into the fire against one of the most potent offensive teams potentially ever. I mean, obviously, this team, and that I'm speaking of the Brooklyn Nets, of course, has a long ways to go with those three. But man, Collin Sexton stepped up to the task and got the job done. It was I can't really even get into how phenomenal Collin Sexton was. I would just go and watch his highlights of that game because the shots he was making down the stretch, it's incredible. And I feel like that draft pick, Collin Sexton going to the Cavaliers just a few years ago, it was so overlooked, but he's really just a walking bucket. You cannot say enough about how good this man is on the offensive side of the floor. He's phenomenal. He's absolutely phenomenal. He can score from anywhere on the court, despite his limitations with his size. He's incredibly fast, and like I said, he's only 6'1", so he does have a somewhat of a height disadvantage in the NBA, but that does not stop him whatsoever. And he's so much fun to watch, especially tonight. And he certainly put a lot of people on notice. I am for real. I'm not afraid of Kevin Durant. I'm not afraid of Kyrie Irving. I'm not afraid of James Harden. And he got the job done for the Cavaliers. I was really, this game I was watching, it was really just vibes. I didn't take notes. I normally take notes. I've said that on previous episodes that I take notes during the game and really try and get everything down so I don't forget that to say anything and things like that. But there was a lot that happened in this game. I feel like I should just begin with the fact that this Nets team, the big three that they have acquired, that being again Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, James Harden. I'll list off some of their career accolades, and this is a combined career accolades between the three: 24 All-Star selections, 18 All-NBA selections, 7 scoring titles, 3 NBA championships, and 2 MVP awards. I mean, this collection of talent is absolutely insane. The fact that the three of them are going to be sharing the court together for the rest of this season, probably the rest of next season, and whoever knows in the future. I mean, this league is going to be in trouble. You don't want to overreact to one game, obviously. I had a sense that they weren't going to win their first game together. It was just somewhat written in the stars. I think it would have been tough, especially, Kyrie Irving getting back into shape. I mean, Kyrie Irving looked great in this one. 37 points, 15 of 28 shooting for Kyrie Irving. So he was really good in his first game back. And he played 48 minutes. So, obviously his conditioning is there, despite the fact that he missed about 2 weeks of action. He was ready to play tonight. But again, I'm not really concerned too much about this team. I think as time goes on, those three especially, and I think it goes even outside those three, that the chemistry is just going to get built over time. That's not something, everyone said, oh, well, Harden and Durant played together in Oklahoma City. Well, that was, almost 8 years ago or so when that was last. And obviously, those are two completely different players. Even James Harden said that himself, when asked. I'm not sure exactly what he was asked, but I'm pretty sure it had something to do along the lines of, oh, well, you guys already have a built chemistry. How do you think that's going to factor into your playing style here? And he was like, well, we were boys back then, and we were just running around trying to throw lobs, get crazy shots off, dunks, whatever it is. Now we're men. Now we understand the game a lot more. We know teams' plays. We know how to work together. I think this is going to be a completely different situation, what we have here in Brooklyn. That's obviously not a direct quote, but that's something along the lines of that, of what James Harden said, and I think I have to agree with him. This is two completely different two completely different players than what they were in Oklahoma City at two completely different stages of their career. They've gone through a lot over the last 8 years or so, and they're just different now. So, and that's not obviously not a bad thing. I mean, James Harden has become a Hall of Fame, almost a first ballot Hall of Famer in that time. Kevin Durant, I feel like, was somewhat always at that level, even when he was at Oklahoma City. And then adding Kyrie Irving to the mix. Kyrie Irving, one of the best shot creators in the NBA at this moment in time. So, again, those three, they're going to figure it out because that's what superstars do. And I think it was funny because I think a lot of the expectations for this team was, okay, well, their offense is going to be obviously phenomenal. And it was. They started the game 10 for 10 from the field. They didn't miss their first 10 shots. It was actually insane to watch. But the periods of time when it was either Harden and Durant on the floor or Irving and Durant on the floor or just one of the three on the floor, that's really when their offense was somewhat stalling. Obviously, that makes sense because you have three Hall of Fame level scorers on the floor at one time. It's so difficult to defend, even when you have capable defenders at every position. It's so difficult to defend that because you basically have one-on-one matchups all throughout the court. But it was the times when it was just two of them on the court at once or just one of them when their offense was somewhat stalling. But I think, again, as time goes on and Irving gets a sense of how to play with Harden, Harden gets a sense of how to play with Irving, Harden gets a sense of how to play with guys like Jeff Green, DeAndre Jordan, TLC, Joe Harris. Like, that's all just going to take time. And, again, you don't want to overreact to a not even a blowout loss, just giving up nearly 150 points. That's obviously a little concerning, but they're going to figure it out. I have a lot of faith in this team. Their offense, it's really unprecedented what we saw. And it's funny because the Cavaliers were the ones that won the game and scored more points than them in an offensive shootout, but their offense it's going to be so hard to stop once they get it clicking, because even tonight at times, there's just so much you can do when Harden has the ball at the top of the key. You got down screens for Durant. Irving is posted up in the corner ready to just catch and shoot. Joe Harris is in the other corner ready to catch and shoot. DeAndre Jordan is running to the rim to catch a lob from James Harden. Like, the offense, you can literally only do so much at that point. And you're really just going to, as an NBA defense, whoever it is, you're just going to have to pick and choose. Pick and choose your poison, really, because at a certain point, you can't defend everything. You literally just cannot defend everything on this team. So, again, I'm not really concerned. It was just a fun game to watch. And I do think that I'm glad the Cavaliers won. And that's not even me, being a hater of the Brooklyn Nets. I just think that they deserve to win this game. There were some questionable calls down the stretch. Notably a call on the final play of regulation, I believe, or one of the final plays of the regulation period, where Kyrie Irving was bringing the ball up the court and he somewhat elbowed Collin Sexton in the face. And I can see how it was somewhat of a normal basketball motion, and Sexton just happened to be in the vicinity of Kyrie's elbow. But it was originally called an offensive foul, and they overturned it. And I can't remember who got the last shot for the Nets on that possession, but they obviously didn't convert and went into overtime. And then in overtime, I can't remember if it was the first or second overtime, James Harden was inbound the ball as the Cavaliers were trying to foul, and he took a few steps, and then I guess you're really granted in the NBA, and it looked like he got away with the travel. But again, those are two questionable calls that obviously didn't go the Cavaliers' way, but in the end, they came away with a victory. So again, I do think the Cavaliers deserve to win this game. And I talked so much about the Nets and how much potential they have as a team. The Cavaliers, I feel like the Cavaliers are legit. I was sleeping on the Cavaliers a lot. I don't know if I said this on a show or maybe just amongst Justin and Chris, who are my co-hosts for the Full Court Report NBA show. I really thought the Cavaliers were going to be one of the worst teams in the NBA this season. I was dead wrong about that. I guess I just didn't believe in. I liked Collin Sexton. I think I've always liked Collin Sexton. I just didn't really believe in players like Andre Drummond. I didn't think he was a legitimate center. I thought he was kind of just putting up empty stats on a bad team, especially last year. But he's definitely proven. He looked really good in this game. He looks really comfortable with the ball. I think he's improved as a facilitator. Obviously, great rebounder as always. And then now that they have, Jared Allen coming off their bench as a backup center, that's huge. Taurean Prince actually looked really good. He had 17 points in this game for the Cavaliers. Cedi Osman, he played 50 minutes in this game. He scored 25 points. Larry Nance, he looks like a really solid, forward, center. Wherever you place him, he's going to do all the dirty work. And honestly, again, he's another player who has really grown as a facilitator, similar to Drummond. And then there are two guys who are injured. I mean, Kevin Love is obviously injured, but again and again, he's always in trade rumors. You don't know where he's going to end up or if he's going to stick with the Cavaliers. And then Darius Garland, who is, their starting point guard essentially, point guard, shooting guard, depending on how you look at it, with Collin Sexton in that backcourt. The Cavaliers, they're a legit team. Isaac Okoro, even a great young defensive wing who has a lot of potential, I think. I like that pick more and more as the season goes on. I thought that was a solid pick. I thought, originally when they first drafted him, I was thinking, oh, maybe they should have gotten Denny Avdija, the player that the Wizards inevitably ended up taking. But Okoro has been really, really solid for the Cavaliers. So, I do like that pick the more and more that I've watched him. But this was just a fun game. This is honestly one of the best games I've seen all season. And again, I can only do so much by talking about it. I would certainly go and watch the highlights for this game. Watch the double overtime highlights. Watch Collin Sexton drop in 42 points, a career high once again. Just an outstanding game all around. It was just fun. It was just so much fun as a basketball fan, as an NBA fan. It was just a lot of fun. So that is going to do it for me, Jorie Mickens. Another episode of In the Bonus. And check out the new logo, guys. My friend Danny Lemoyne helped me create this one, so give it a look out. I thought he did a really, really good job on it, and now I have finally a logo that actually says In the Bonus, so you don't have to look at Full Court Report whenever I make these videos in the future. But again, thank you so much for listening. Please sure to tune into all of our episodes of In the Bonus and the Full Court Report NBA show every week. Make sure to like this video, subscribe to our channel, comment on this video, and stay safe, everyone.